Have you always wanted to start your own Lego city, but don't have the money it takes to even buy a single modular? Or maybe you do, but you don't have enough space? In this video, I'll be showing you a couple of ways you can start your own city with any type of budget. I'll even tell you how you can build an entire Lego city for free. But since this is a series where I'm building my own city, let's first do a quick recap of what we did so far. In the last video, we came up with a name and a backstory. We made a quick layout, built a table for the city, and placed the first bricks. Today, we'll add our first modular to the Lego city. But before we do that, let's talk a little more about how you can actually start a project like this. Most people don't have access to an office space that can host a big city, but there are multiple ways you can fit one anywhere you'd like. So the first option is to build a city that's only a couple of base plates in size. Alternatively, you could even play with the scale of your city and build everything even smaller. You can find official instructions for the 2012 mini modular set on the Lego website, and Rebrickable has a bunch of instructions made by regular people like you and me. Then, it's just a matter of finding the parts you need. A lot of people don't know this, but you can buy individual parts on the Lego website under the Pick a Brick option. Bricklink is also a great source for this. It's like a marketplace for specific Lego pieces, both used and new. Just keep in mind that some pieces might get very expensive. Take the cafe corner, for example. It was the first modular released by Lego, and if you were to find one sealed in box right now, it would cost you about 2,600 euros. If you look at the part list of this set, you can see this single door is almost half the price of this entire Jazz Club modular. So long story short, be smart with how you buy your parts. Just replace that door for something like this. I got a bunch of parts together. Let's quickly build a mini modular to see what it's like. I didn't want to order a bunch of new parts, so the colors aren't what they're supposed to be, but it still looks decent, I think. Okay, these tiny modulars are fun and all, but you want to get into the real stuff. How do you go about doing that without filling up your whole house? If you have a bit more space to use, shelves are a great way to build a vertical city on. Reuse an old rack you already have. Find something cheap online or look at some options from IKEA. You can even just get some shelf brackets and boards to put your city on. You might also want to hold off on getting something like the Avengers Tower. As cool as it may be, it will most likely not fit on your shelf. Now, if this is still not an option for you, there is another way. And the best thing is, you won't have to spend a penny. Because let's be honest, Lego isn't cheap these days. Getting a modular will set you back at least 200 euros, or 2,600 if you do decide to go for the cafe corner. You could also look for a pre-owned set, but you run the risk of missing pieces, discoloration, or pieces with bite marks in them. Now, it isn't exactly the same as getting that brand new box of Lego and physically putting everything together, but you could always make your city digital. Later in the video, I'll be building my first ever modular with actual Lego. But let me tell you a bit more about this digital version first. Before I started this project, I played around with the idea of doing everything on the computer with Studio. Again, Lego is expensive, and I didn't know if I would have the money to build an entire city. A digital city is the closest you'll come to building a city without having to spend a ton of money. As you can see, I first built the roads, tracks, and even some modulars in Studio. Instructions for most Lego sets can be found online, but you can also build something from scratch or import creations other people built. With Studio, you have access to practically every part you could need in any color you want. And yes, that even includes that damn door. It's free to use and gives you endless possibilities. You can even import official Lego sets into Studio and have all the pieces laid out like this, or just add them as a virtual palette that you can use to select the parts you need for each step. If you have any questions about Studio or want me to make a full tutorial, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Also, drop me some suggestions for what to build for the city. I might just be planning to combine your ideas into one giant video later. Okay, you've decided how you're building your city, but what now? Another thing to keep in mind is your layout. First, you need a list of things you want to put in your Lego city. The modulars, the streets, what kind of cars, and things like that. A great way to easily plan out the city is to use a tiny version of it. Now, this is exactly what I did. It's a miniature version of the city I'm building. Every 4 studs represents one base plate on my table. You can add a 2x2 brick for a modular. Use tiles for streets or train tracks, and I use these tiles to add some kind of park to the city. Now, it doesn't matter if you're doing a small city, a big city, a vertical city, or even a digital one. It's a great way to get into it. Of course, you can always change a layout along the way, but it's nice to have some sort of starting point. Alright, now that I've given you some ideas on how you can start your own city, let's finally add that modular, shall we? So we have some options for what to build. I want to start with the Sanctum Sanctorum or the Assembly Square, but I can't decide. Let's flip a coin. Seems like I spent all my money on Lego. Maybe we should build a coin instead. Oh, heads is the sanctum, tails is assembly square. Sanctum sanctorum it is. In order to have a solid base for our building, we first need to build a mills plate. This doesn't look right. Much better. These are very strong and make it so you can easily pick up and move everything without it falling apart. Now that this is done, we can finally start on our first modular. Technically, this isn't part of the official modular lineup. It does fit in perfect though. Remember how we came up with the story last time? I imagine the sanctum being the house of our bad guy, Victor Marlowe. As a lot of you will probably know, this set is from the Lego Marvel lineup. Now I didn't really get it because it's Marvel. I chose this one because it kind of looks like one of those old houses that has been in a family for years and years, don't you agree? The top floor even has a bunch of old historical artifacts that the Marlowes collected over a few generations. I loved building this set. It has 2,708 pieces, so the stop motion took a while, but I think it was totally worth it. It's such a nice building. The first thing you'll notice on the ground floor is the giant staircase. If we remove the landing here, you can see the kitchen with a side entrance onto the street. A small Easter egg they put in is the tesseract behind the fridge here. Also, here we find the magic book that I somehow forgot the name of. And of course, the time stone. If we go to the second floor, we see some seats, some stuff on the bookcases, and lastly a little play feature. It's supposed to represent portals to different locations. Now usually these would have stickers on them, but because I sometimes reuse parts for other builds, I'm not a huge fan of adding them. This set comes with a total of 40 stickers by the way, which is kind of crazy to me at this price point. But I guess they can't print all 40 pieces if this is the only set they're used on. Anyways, this is the top floor. I have no idea how you're supposed to get up here since there is no staircase from the floor below. I might have to fix that in the future. Like I said before, here you can find a bunch of old artifacts that look pretty cool. On top of this, we of course have the roof with some small little builds. I'd prefer the roofs of modulars to be tiled off actually. But I first want to set up a big part of the city before I do any of that stuff. Same goes for the sidewalk. To match the roads, these should be light gray instead of dark. Now lastly, this set comes with a bunch of minifigures. I'm not sure what to do with them since I don't have a superhero storyline in the city. But who knows, maybe I'll end up using them for something else instead. Let's place it in our city. Now that Victor has a place to live, he also needs a place to do his business. And no, I don't mean that business. Marlowe does all of his business downtown, so let's arrange some way of transportation to get there. Luck may have it, we know this guy. This is Tony. Tony's the owner of Tony's Taxi Emporium, and he might just owe Victor some money. I think we can arrange something.
Tony's Taxi Emporium, what can I do for you? Yeah, sure. Can take you downtown, boss, no problem.
Right. We'll give Tony a call to tell him we'll be building him some more roads next time.